Okay, this video is response to a video I saw with Jeff Chan. I'm a big fan of Jeff Chan, and that was a video, I think it was called The Way of the Ronin, that I watched today. And he said that he loves sparring and he loves training, but he hates fighting. And he said one reason why he hates fighting is he gets so tense, he gets so tired, he gets so anxious that even when he starts, the first round, he's kind of all hyped up and tired, and he feels like he's fought 5 rounds. He's at a deficit, right? And he said, I wish I could fight and compete like he spars. He loses some of that elusiveness and that skill and everything. And I would be like, okay, well, Mr. Chan, I'm a huge fan. I'm a lot older than you, but I feel like I'm learning things from your videos, and that's a big compliment, right? Here's how I could help you. First of all, you could try hypnosis and meditation. I'd personally help you if you could get over here to Columbia, Missouri. All right. There's various techniques. There's Ericksonian hypnosis, there's guided meditations, there's fairly standard hypnosis, and there's combinations of all that. And within the realm of hypnosis, I sometimes mix the hypnotic state with moving meditations, right? Kind of like a form of Qigong hypnosis, all right? And that will help. There's the use of language and reframing. I mean, what you perceive of as anxiety and overexcitement, I'm like, oh, that means your body is now prepared. That's your body is generating that mental and physical energy. We need to channel it. I've done that with professional MMA fighters here. Now, the other thing is your sparring. So I like the way you spar, where you have good control, you make contact, but you're not blasting each other, and you're really working the skill, the elusiveness, and I like that. And then you said, but when you get in the cage and in the ring, you lose some of that skill because of the tension and anxiety you fear and fear. You feel anxiety, and you feel fear. And that denigrates your physical performance. The mind and the body are interconnected, right? They are one. So I would say that at some point in your fight camp, right? Let's say your fight camp is 2 months and you're training for a professional fight. I would say 1 month in, halfway through your fight camp, have an all-out war. All right, have an all-out war, and you've been preparing for this by doing your regular sparring, but you've been doing your visualization, your meditation, you've been getting hypnosis, hopefully from me, and we treat it as a simulation of a title shot, of a pro fight. And then you bring in people that are strangers to you, right? And you could even offer stakes. You could be like, we're going to keep score, and for everybody who fights around with me and you do X, I'm going to give you an extra 20. You're going to win $20 for that round, or $30, or whatever it is, right? And your sparring partners rotate in and out, and they're really putting the pressure on you. You give them all a goal. You're like, your goal is to land power shots. Okay, I want you to try to knock my block off. And, the other guy, your goal is slip my punches, counterattack. Every time you slip my right hand and give me a left hook, we're going to give you a point. You do that 3 times or 4 times or 5, however many times in the round, you're going to win $30. If you double that, you get double. You give them an incentive. You don't do a lot of rounds this way. You don't make it an endurance event. You make it a mentally intense thing. All right, and then you've kind of like went through it, right? You go back to your light sparring, your playful sparring regimen, but you've kind of gotten this out of the way in the fight camp, right? The fight camp was easy. then there was mentally and physically hard, then it goes easy, and then you start ramping up your preparation, and you've sort of busted that cherry a little bit. All right? And while that's happening, what we do, for example, you and I, we work on the mental state. We work on, we hopefully videotape it all, and we take inventory of how you performed, where you underperformed, and where you performed up to expectation. And we go back to the drawing board and not only change and modify your physical training, but your mental training, right? And what this tells me is that this great level of elusiveness and technical skill that you have some of it has not made it all the way into your subconscious to where you're consciously competent, but you're not unconsciously competent. You can't recall certain skills under great pressure like the way you do in sparring, and I think it's more mental than physical. And so by making a mental progression, a mental regimen with progressions, because there are higher levels of mental preparedness and mental skills and verbal skills and language skills that you can learn, that, for example, I could teach you, that are just as important as the physical training, as the cardio and the weights and the sparring and the pad work. There are mental equivalents of pad work. There are mental equivalents of sparring even, right? There's verbal therapy. For example, something pickup artists do is they'll take turns trying to insult each other, right? And shrug it off. And they'll take turns sort of trying to take the insult, act completely unconcerned, but yet also kind of slip in a sly response. That's a verbal form of sparring, right? We, for example, in hypnotherapy, can do an exercise where I could state something dangerous or fearful, and your exercise is, how do I redefine it? I say, my name is Jeff Chan, and I get really frightened before a match. I get really scared and tense before I match. And then, well, how do you know? Well, I feel this pounding in my heart. I feel the tension in my traps or my legs or somewhere. I'm like, well, that's not really fear. That's adrenaline. That muscular tension is your body sort of flexing and preparing to absorb a hit. It's actually letting me know that your body is capable of responding to threat levels, all right? But you're responding too soon. And all of the defenses are firing off all at once. But what if you could consciously control that? What if every single time you started to feel the physiological changes in your body and it turned into fear? What if you could take those physiological changes, modify those physiological changes, take control of your breathing and your circulation, and now take that energy that's welling up within your body and bring it out to your hands, your feet, your knees, your elbows, right? And feel it charging up your footwork, feel it charging up your head movement, and feel it going into your core. Right? You see what I'm saying? If you were following along with my audio, that should have gotten you in a semi-hypnotic state, if not a full hypnotic state, right? So just bear in mind that the mental aspects of the martial art can be drilled. There are basics to it. There are combinations to it. There are offenses and defenses to it. There's a lot more to it than just saying I'm repeating a positive affirmation. But that's a beginning. But that's only the beginning. There's so much more. All right. You have a good day.